And welcome to this month's Uncensored and In Charge with Erin Childs. I am so happy to be here today, and I appreciate all of you for tuning in on what I hope will be another successful and meaningful webinar of information for you. Today, we are going to be talking about fall catering readiness and trends that you're going to hopefully see, tactics and strong teams that hopefully you will have in place for really what I will call a winning fall season and into the holiday season. Now, anybody who has catering managers, event planners, sales team, I think all of you would find a lot of value in this session today. So I would say for anyone who has those team members, tune in or share this with them so that we can have a lot of good value for those people on your team. So what we're going to do is we are going to kind of take a look to see what we have as we close out our summer and we're headed into what will hopefully be a very busy fall and holiday season for you. And I know for most brands, this time of year can be kind of quiet. So fall is when I look at catering going from a simmer from the summer to a full boil. And my hope is that we can set you up for success and that you're going to thrive this coming holiday season in the fall, and you're not going to be scrambling, which we all know in catering, this can be a scramble business. However, the more organized and the more thoughtful you are with putting everything together and the more organized your team is, the more success I feel like you're going to find. And this is going to matter for weddings that you might be planning. If you're a wedding caterer, corporate events in the corporate field, if you're a fast casual caterer, if you're a special events caterer, any type of those events, this is really going to matter and really set you up for success. So I want to make sure that as fourth quarter begins for people, that they're really feeling strong and on pace to hit their numbers and have confidence with everything that they're going into. I hope that this today will give you some good prep strategies and helpful team organization tools that are going to set you up for success and really allow for you to maybe enter this season a little bit more calmer than you thought you were. And I think one of the biggest goals that all of us on Cater Linked are always looking to kind of hit home with is we are a community of people trying to give you the best tools and tactics and skills and advice and share our stories so that it creates more success for everybody. And I really do hope that today you find some wonderful pieces that you can take away. So as we head into our fall and summer is ending, I just wanted to talk about some food trends that people have been discussing and I've been hearing chatter about. Some people have asked, what are some food trends? Do you know? I know on Cater Linked, there were some questions posted on this. So it sounds to me like there's going to be a lot of plant forward menus. I think a lot of people have a vegetarian or vegan option always available. However, I know that some guests are finding some value in trying to find savings with a few more of those options while very full of flavor and stuff. So something to be considered. From a little bit of a cost savings standpoint as well, some mini desserts, handhelds. These are easier for social parties or not necessarily large events that might be happening, but a little bit more bite-sized food. So we might start to see some trends in that direction as well this coming fall and in the holiday season. I interestingly found this, I don't know, interesting, I guess, was Zero Proof Cocktails and Mocktail Station at corporate events and or weddings and or office parties and things like that. putting an emphasis more in flavors and combinations and creativity. So those are some things that I just thought I'd kick it with menu and food trends that are being discussed. Obviously, comfort food is always something that people are trying to put into their menus, but they're trying to kind of put a little bit of a fancier comfort twist to things, I find. So something to look for as you begin this fall season and you're trying to create menus for your organization, your catering business, your big company, your little company. I know all different types of companies could tune into this and hear it. So I want to make sure that everybody feels that I'm not just talking at a high level of the big catering companies, that I'm also touching on the smaller, even if you have one catering kitchen that you're running or 50 or 10, I just want to make sure everyone feels like I'm sharing enough and it goes that far for all of you. Okay, so you're also going to see, I think, this coming fall, and for you to consider if you're not already doing it, a lot of interactive stations, and always sustainable serveware. I know in the fast casual industry is a big talking point, and making sure that things are recyclable or compostable. These also give your catering clients some really nice reassurance as they're throwing these large events, that if it isn't necessarily a super formal event or private party, that you are in a corporate atmosphere that's being sensitive to the environment. And I think that that's super important too, as we talk about the sustainability and local sourcing and all that kind of stuff. I think for some of these things too, you're going to start to see your clients having shorter booking windows, and they might book somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks out versus larger distances. So a lot of what we're going to dive into today is going to be kind of with that mentality, but I also think that there's going to be a window of time for you to reach out to customers as they're really not necessarily thinking today in August, oh, our holiday party. But I think as people head back to school, some are already in school across the country, but I think as people head back to school and we kind of get off of our summers, that you're going to start to reach out to clients in September and start trying to fill your calendar into September and October as people start to really think about the holidays and understand what their fall is going to look like. And I'm speaking specifically of your clients' behavior right now versus on the caterer side of business, if that makes sense. I think what you're going to really see this fall too is value-focused clients. People who, as I said, with the vegetarian dishes before, budgets might have shifted a little bit. You might be seeing clients who are going to be doing a few more events than they had in the past, that are at a smaller scale, a more intimate scale, versus necessarily huge, just one big one. I think you're going to see both, but I just want to say that there's, I think, some opportunity to play around and be very value focused with your clients as you head into the holiday season. And I think that that's going to be very key in your fall planning. So one of the things to prepare for all of this that I've been talking about is we've got to make sure that you are putting together a list or a prep book or notes or whatever, so that you're prepared and ready for what is to come. I think right about now, you should be very focused on your menu. And I think that you should be finalizing your fall menus now, if they're not done already. Some people might have large organizations, large catering businesses that already have that printed, and that is totally fine. I am going to talk a little bit to the smaller catering organizations who are just kind of coming into the end of their summer and saying, okay, do we have an idea of what our menu is. And I think right now, as things quiet down, I think you should be testing recipes and making sure that the fall menu that you have put together is really delicious, ready to go, and you feel very confident in it. And everybody on your team understands what it tastes like. Specifically, I'm going to talk about your sales team understanding what it tastes like, so that when they're on the phone, they're working to market your fall menu, market your holiday menus, that they really understand and can describe the salads or the grains or the meats or the dishes that you have, the desserts. All of that matters from a sales point, because the more confident your sales team is with those menus that are rolling out, the easier it will be to sell. So note for that. I think that you should consider at this time creating special packages for sending your quotes out to your customers. And this is interesting because I think that sometimes right now people might be duplicating events that they've had in the past. They might be calling you for the first time to place their first event with you, and they might not know you. So you've got to kind of build their confidence in your brand and in you as a catering professional. So I think that it's extremely important for fast quoting to go out. I think that if you're able to get quotes into your clients' hands faster, that it will build a trust with them and also allow for a commitment to come in faster to you from your clients, than maybe shop it around as fast, because some people might not turn it to them as quickly. And that kind of gives you a leg up, if you will. And really, as I said, building trust and showing that customer that you really would love their business. I'm going to jump to staffing, and I can't stress this enough. Right now, as you are in August, people are taking their vacations, finishing vacations. You might have a ton of team members out right now. This is a perfect opportunity to train or bring on board, if not in the next month, your seasonal hires. And I think that bringing them on a little bit earlier than you might not necessarily always be, but I think that bringing them on early is going to allow for you to train and onboard them and educate them. Now, if you're in a catering company that is focused solely on special events and you have a full wait staff and you have to bump it up, obviously, for the holiday season, this might already seem like, well, obviously, they're coming in October, we're good to go, we know it. But if you are a smaller organization and you feel that you might need 2 to 3 people, you can maybe bring them in a little bit earlier than you were anticipating and start training them on the food. Even if it's a few hours a day, a week, whatever it is, but this is going to set you up for success for your special events and or parties. And I think that it's really important. Obviously, I think that it's a good opportunity here in August that we start checking ourselves and cross-training core staff. Friendly reminder to everybody, I think that refreshing on allergen awareness is extremely crucial at this time of year that people might not be thinking about. And I also think that it's a perfect time to apply or correct any weak behaviors that your team might have. You might have seen it at other events. I think that it's a perfect opportunity for you to role play and help your team become the best version of themselves and put them in difficult situations with customers and have them, as politely as they can, you work their way out of it. And some people might laugh at this, but I actually think that it makes you more professional, more polished. And these are really nice attributes for a catering company who is very serious about their food and everything. I think that it's a great moment for your team to shine or not shine as much, but be taught something in a time where it's a little bit slower. So something to think about as far as the staffing is concerned, as you're ending summer and people are a little bit quieter. These are perfect moments to have with your team. And I can't stress that enough. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to jump into are systems. So here we are in August. We could have companies that are 40 years old, 10 years old, 100 years old, right? And we have our systems in place. I think August is such a special time for leaders to audit everything that they kind of have within their organization as far as special events planning or catering, corporate catering, or I mean, how many other things can I describe? I hope everybody understands where I'm going with this, but I think it's a perfect opportunity for you to take your team, your systems, and do an audit on it. And I think that what you need to do is check the details of how people place their orders. Are your order systems the right questions? Are you, for the new menus that you might be rolling out or highlighted special menu items that you might be rolling out, do the people who are your team members who are selling this menu, or the customers who are placing a menu catering order, online, are the right questions there for them? And that's what I mean when I say take an audit of how your systems and how all of the information is captured. Some people will call this an intake form. Some catering companies might take it just like a order review document. Just make sure that it captures all of the details, and it's a great moment for you to just check in case there's something new popping up that you're like, oh, we're not listing that there's a 10-person minimum on this, that kind of stuff, if that makes sense. I think that you should also at this time start to review your calendar for events and production and what you have already on the calendar. And I think that it's an important thing for you to see, okay, who ordered last time from September to December. I think that's a huge window for you to have a lot of opportunity to reach out and have your sales team reach out to anybody who hasn't yet place their order, or if they had two big events in September or October or November. You see where I'm going. It's a great moment for your sales team to reach out to them and say, hey, you did this last big event with us last September, October. Do you have another one coming up? Can I help put together a different menu? And really have your checks and balances in place for what your production calendar is going to look like for your events coming up. I think you should be doing an inventory check right now. So I think that what you should be doing if you are in a special events business, are your serving pieces still looking good? Do your linens, is your linen company, sending you good stuff? Do you like what your linen company is sending you? Do you have the linens organized at your company enough? I think it's a great time for anybody who might be in a fast casual drop-off catering phase to organize your shelves, your containers, make sure things are fully stocked. While I do think that should be happening every day at the end of the day after a crazy day, if things aren't crazy right now, this is a good opportunity for you to just have those moments to freshen it up. Make sure your little signs and your labels are clear, that they're not chipped. Clean it all up because you have been busy and crazy, and August is definitely more quiet. And so these are these moments where you can shine and just get everything on par for what we will hopefully have is a very great last fourth quarter for you all. So one thing, okay, so sorry, I'm going to go back to the last thing I'm going to say is some people get very stuck. Some managers, some leaders get very stuck in these quiet months. And so these little checks and audits that you can put to yourself or your team members, I think you will find extreme value. And honestly, I think it's a good habit or pattern to get into almost on a monthly basis. At the end of the month, you reflect back to see how everything went. But I think that for now, I will just say, let's have August be a time as we're halfway through it to really push hard and clean up and get ready for a really successful fall. Okay. And what does organizing a successful fall look like? Well, I think that what we should be doing is, if we're not already doing it, starting your weekly meetings. Okay. Weekly meetings are extremely important to me. I think that they are weekly planning meetings, I should say. I think meetings are, whatever. Weekly planning meetings are extremely important because you are going to help your team understand what they need to orchestrate. And they're going to not be surprised by anything, but you guys are going to have everything clearly laid out and be prepared. And I think that that's super important. I think that in the coming weeks, what you should do is really have your master event calendar planned or laid out for anything that's booked now through December, as I was saying. Obviously, you're going to add more in. That's fine. We know that there are going to always be last minute bookings, no matter how prepared we are. Those customers are going to say, we're throwing a holiday party and we want to have everybody, stay after work one day. Those will always exist. So perhaps put together a last minute package for those customers that your team is already prepared for, already rehearsed, and knows how to execute it successfully, so that it just makes you guys look really good as you're executing and saying yes to this last minute guest, and that you're putting on quite a show for them. And it doesn't seem like it's so last minute and fumbled, that it's so organized because you guys are executing it at the level that you should be, because you've prepared yourselves. I think that that's really good. I think that for organizing for success, that you should, once you're back from summer vacations and your team's ready to go, that I think that anybody who has clients who have booked September through December at this point, I think this is a perfect opportunity for you to just reach out to them, check in, let them know that you're looking forward to their event. Give them dates that you will be touching base with them as time gets closer to their event. This is going to give your client a sense of comfort. It's going to remind them that they're working with a company and a person who is all about the details and they trust you. Again, I've said and done webinars in the past where I said trust is super important. You want to always trust your caterer. You don't want your caterer to be saying one thing and doing another. So these are these perfect moments where you get to connect with them. See if they have any other events coming up besides that one. Things have popped up, I'm sure, this summer, or, that they're like, you know what? No, but we've got meetings in a few weeks and this is going to happen. These are all really, really important little details and moments that will help you and your business, and also help your client just have more confidence and love that you're their caterer, or you're their salesperson, or you're the catering director or the manager. I think all of these things are really, really important, and they are of a lot of value. So back to calendars really quickly. So you have hopefully booked parties already. If you don't, now is a perfect time for your sales team to start in September up with triggered questions of, are you hosting a holiday party? Are you doing a end of summer? I mean, it's August 12th. So maybe people are doing end of summer barbecues that you could solicit. These are these moments where you're trying to get more business in the door, but we're really trying to forecast, obviously, September, October, November, and December. So I think that it's just a good way to look at your calendar right now, know what you have on the books, have your team know what you have on the books, and then start filling in the gaps of where we need to add more so that you're more successful. Okay, so right now, back to our September, we should be pretty tight on your menus. If you're not already, let's lock it in for the next 2 weeks. I think it is a great idea to start a social media calendar for yourself and or email blasts. What are we doing if we haven't already launched them in August? So my real advice would be that the September stuff should be launched for August now. But if it's not yet, you still have a few weeks to do it. But in the next week or so, I would really be highlighting 1 to 2 items on your social media or an email blasts of what you have coming down the pipeline for the fall. And, there are also things that you could do that would be fun, like early bird booking perks. So if somebody books their holiday party by, I don't know, November, maybe they get a bonus veggie tray or something. Or if there's an office event and they book by X date, you might waive delivery fee. These are little perks that can help early birds who are prepared, organized, enjoy a little treat from you as their caterer. That's going to be a bonus to them for having their ducks in a row, and also help you with your planning and organization as you're booking out for your fall. This is also another one that I was thinking of today, actually, that I thought would be really special, and it's worked in the past. And I've done it myself in the past, is you have partners that you work with, and those partners could be your linen company, your food purveyors, your packaging company, local farmers. I mean, you name it. They are considered partners, right? Because you guys are in a partnership of whatever the service is that they're giving you. I think that it's an extremely special opportunity to highlight those partners and do promotional partnership things with your partners. So if your, paper company provides your compostable containers, that you do a post on that, or you promote them, and also your business at the same time being sustainable, being conscious of the environment and things like that. I think that those are extremely valuable. And I would actually even talk to your partners about those things and see if they could help you cross promotion it. What this is going to do is this is going to allow for another market of people to have access to your company, and or maybe the other competitors are going to see, wow, you know what? I would love to reach out to their catering department because we cater and, we provide these paper products to all these different companies. So I think that there's a lot of value in taking a quick look before the fall starts at who your partners are and trying to partner with them. It's called partnerships for a reason. And I think that we all can help each other in that way. And I think that there's extreme value there that people aren't necessarily jumping on all the time. So I invite and challenge you to do something along those lines that might be a little bit different. Okay, so leading your team into the season. I have said this many times recently, that it all comes from the top. The success comes from the top, because if your leaders are ready to go, prepared, calm, organized, and give all of the team members the information and their roles and the assignments that need to be done, that it's going to be a very successful, calm season. And I think that being a strong leader allows for your team to have confidence in you when you give them their assignments and they understand their roles and they know exactly what they need to do. I think keeping a high morale and celebrating after some of the hard work that you will do at these events, at these, if you have a $100,000 catering order, or a $10,000 catering order, or an $800 catering order, mini celebrations to celebrate your team and congratulate them on executing something that seemed really hard, but because you were so organized and prepared for it, that you crushed it. And I think that that keeps your team's morale high, and obviously celebrating and highlighting those strengths of certain team players is just such a positive. So I invite you to make sure that you're going to be doing that. I think leaders need to be calm under pressure. I think your team responds to how you are acting. If you're stressed, the system's going to get stressed. So I think that, doing quick debriefs after any major event or any event that you're doing that could have had a stressful situation in it and that you learn from it. I think taking 2 minutes and taking a deep breath before you're executing on something that's been stressful is extremely valuable for you leaders out there. And I think that at the end of the day, there are always going to be areas where you should highlight the strengths of your team and the way that they crushed it first, and then where areas of improvement for the next events need to happen. And I think that those can all happen. Everything I'm talking about can happen in these weekly meetings as you're in your busy event season. Now, some people might say there is zero chance that I can have a meeting to talk about, the 5 events that we did last week. I'm going to call it a little bit on that because I don't believe that. I don't think that your meetings need to be an hour long. I think that you could take 15 minutes out of the time to go, okay, guys, this is where we crushed it. Leaders, this is where your organization is going to be key in making sure that your team understood their exact roles, that you put them into the right roles. And if one of your team members is coming and going, oh, Jesus, I blew it. I suck at this station. I didn't do this. I didn't prepare this right. Then that is a perfect moment for you to be like, okay, we're going to remove you from that section. We're going to try something different. How does this feel? This open communication is really important. So this is why these debriefs and these weekly meetings to talk about all this stuff, I think is extreme value for all of you leaders out there. So find the time because it matters and it makes your team feel extremely valued. Okay. Highlight the good first, talk about the areas of improvement next. Okay. So on to my action steps and checklist section of my thoughts here. So I believe that if we have these checklists and these follow-up touch points with our clients and our team members specifically, that you will have a very successful season ahead of you here this fall. And the reason why is because people feel very confident and comfortable when they know exactly what to expect. So your team is given the event schedule, your team understands what each event needs. You've had your sales team in making sure that whoever's head of ops or in charge of the operation for that event is very clear on what the expectation of the client is. That's a key part in making sure that this is all successful. And that the communication has trickled from literally the client's expectations all the way down through the sales team, through the operations team, through the kitchen team, through the prep team, through the execution wait staff team. And all of this matters because if all of that communication goes right, then your event should be pretty seamless. And of course, people will say, well, what happens if X goes down? Well, then that's where you have to stay calm under pressure. But I really do think that the checklists and the prep and the organization and understanding right now what needs to be done through the fall into the holiday rush is really going to feel like it isn't so insane. And I think that one of the most important things that all of you always remember is that the success of how this fall is going to go for you, how your holiday season is going to go for you, is going to be a big result of how prepared you are headed into it. And I think that what many should do is at this point, you should be asking yourself some of these questions. Am I ready to roll this out? If I roll this out, is my team prepared to execute it? Does everybody know what it tastes like? These are important little details that I think will allow for you to have a calmer fall. And I think be way more successful in executing. And if we execute successfully, that means that our customers are happy, our food has been shared, and people have enjoyed it. They've had a wonderful, positive experience with your brand, and they love it, and they want to keep coming back for more. And I think that that's something that is the point of why we are in this business. And I think that you're going to feel more confident if you line this up in the right way. Now, for those of you who have been in business for a long time, and here we are at just another August, here we are headed into just another fall season and the holidays and I think that this is a really good opportunity for you to pause for a second and say, am I stuck in a cycle? Do I need to get out of a cycle? You know, maybe there are little pieces of it that aren't working that can work better for you later on. And so I just want you to take some of these moments to check yourself and call yourself out on, you know what, we've been really lackadaisical on this. And leading up to these events, nobody's checked to make sure all the serving utensils are in the right spaces, and people are during the event pack outs going like this because they can't find enough tongs. That is the type of little detail that I'm talking about that you could be getting rid of right now in August when teams are looking for stuff to do and it is light. This is where cross-training your teams comes into play and is super powerful. So it's something that I do. I want to challenge all of you leaders. I want to challenge all of you in the catering world to check yourselves right now and really make sure that you are going to set yourself and your team up for a beautiful fall. And I don't know, perhaps enjoy all of the events that you're doing and not have it feel so burdensome sometimes. Burdensome. I can't talk. Not such a burden. Jesus. Okay. Anyway, I will open it up to some questions. I don't know if there are any in the chat right now. So let me just go here. Okay. How do you train your team to confidently describe and sell new fall menu items, not just take orders? Okay. Well, if you have a menu, so let me jump back quickly. If you have these fall menus in place, you as the leaders, I mean, I don't know who we want to call out as the chief operating officer, head of ops, general manager, all of you catering managers, if you guys have these menu items from your chef and your kitchen, and they know how to, they've seen it made, they know how it tastes, you've got all of this ready to go, your team will be able to articulate what they're trying to sell when they're putting these events together. They're going to have a vision of this event, and the client says, I want fall colors, I want warmth, I want textures. They want all of these things, right? So you're going to have your sales team be able to say, oh gosh, yes, this grain salad is made with farro and kale and pomegranates and whatever else, a beautiful dressing, a thyme dressing that just encapsulate butternut squash that encapsulates all of it and allows for it to have this delicious warm flavors. This is going to have this customer be like, this is amazing, I want this on my menu. And that will sell. If they know what it tastes like and they say, oh my God, this is what you should do. The more confident your salespeople are in what they're selling, then they will sell those items the most. And everybody needs to know that, whether it's a fall menu or a winter menu or a spring menu. If your sales team understands the texture and how it tastes and feels, then they're going to sell that item, because if they like that item, then they'll talk about it. If they don't, they're not going to. So perhaps it is important to have them engaged in all of this fall menu talk as well, so that they're tasting it and understanding it. I hope that answers that question. Okay, next question. What strategies have worked best for creating catering packages that feel customized but are still efficient to quote over the phone? Okay, so this is when I was talking about having one of those last minute. So I would prepare a quick menu for, say, I'll be a little bit general here, but say 15 to 20 people, or keep it 20 to 30 people menu. Okay. I would actually do, maybe actually, it's not a bad idea to do two, right? Because I want to talk, I'm also talking to not just like big event planners, I'm also talking corporate catering clients or customers here, where it's, if you're in the fast casual catering space, and your events aren't necessarily that always that large, or if it's a small office, plan maybe 3 menus, right? Maybe there's one that's 10-person menu. Maybe there's one that's 20 to 30, and maybe, past that, it's obviously onto the other stuff, and there's a lot more planning involved. But I would say take some of the strongest menu selling items on your menu and put those together. Highlight different flavors. I would say always make sure that there are vegetarian or vegan options on there. I think asking your client too many questions can be hard for you as an executor because it's last minute. So I think that if you say, you know what, we're highlighting this 10-person event menu right now, here it is, and they're going to get it and be like, this looks amazing. And maybe you have to make one or two tweaks to it. But I think that having it kind of pre-planned with the opportunity to make a couple of tweaks is easier than starting over. So now would be a good opportunity for you just to throw something together. And again, none of this has to be hard. None of this has to be feel like a big deal. I think that if you just do it in a really simplistic way, it will allow for you to execute it simpler. And I think it'll have a lot of value. How do you recommend introducing catering responsibilities to team members who aren't typically involved, especially during vacation season? Okay, so I have said this from the beginning of time. I think that throughout an entire year of work, everybody should be taking slow opportunities at work to cross-train your team. And this has to go with some of the other webinars that I've talked about with training and teaching people on your team to do the next level work, so that you're always kind of training and teaching with the long goal of, like, if I were a salad prep person, for example, and I was like the best person at making salads and I crushed it, and you saw me as your operations person, Erin makes the best salads ever. That's her jam. She crushes it. But then one day Erin doesn't want to make salads anymore because she's bored. And I'm like, I don't want to just do this. How can I do something else? Those are those moments in time where you constantly need to be adding responsibilities to team members who are looking to have more involvement. And I think that that's one of those moments where it's taking your prep person that's really good at making salads and training them on how to then package the salads into the catering orders, read the catering sheets, and make sure that the catering salads are packed out appropriately to go to the guests and they understand how to read those documents. That is helping introduce additional catering responsibilities to your team members. And that can be stretched across any field in your catering world. So whether that's taking phone orders, whether that's checking the email, entering orders into a system, making food, talking to clients, all of these things are areas where you can cross-train people. Your team members have a lot of strengths that you probably don't realize. Find those strengths and help them enhance them. I say to clients, train your replacement. It doesn't mean that you are going to lose your job. It means that if you left and went on to the next big job, that you've got somebody to step in and knows exactly what you're doing. And I think that there's a lot of value in doing that. To the second part of that question on the screen here where it's they're not typically involved during a vacation season, I think that it's something to expose them to, and they won't necessarily be afraid of it when you look at them in October and say, I need you to make this. And they're like, oh God. And you say, follow the picture. It just gives a little bit more confidence to your team. I hope that answers that question. What are some creative ways to use role playing or scenario training to prepare staff for a tough customer situation? Okay, so at my days at Boloco, we would sometimes role play our catering phone calls to teach our CSRs, catering service representatives, how to deal with somebody who is clueless on the phone, respectfully, angry, having a bad day. Remember, if somebody's having a bad day, our job, I always say, is to try to make it a little bit easier. If they're stressed because their food is late, we need to play with our teams to understand the stress that our customer or client are under. So I even would say, act it out. So you take two team members of yours and say, okay, you're the customer, you're the caterer. Okay. And so I've planned an event for 50 people with you, Erin, since September of 2025. And here we are at the event. We talked about X, Y, and Z. And you told me that all of these things were going to happen, and they didn't. And it is hilarious to have your team members participate with you on this, or other team members with team members, because the creativity that comes across with like angry customers, it just puts a little bit of lightness in the situation. And I think that when you act it out and you have the live scenario of it, you as the leader can go in and say, pause for a second. Do you see what she said? She isn't taking responsibility as the caterer for the mistake, and the customer is upset because the customer just feels like they're spinning in circles because Erin's not taking responsibility. So those are those little moments of teaching that you can have within those creative role playing. But I always think like getting your catering team together and calling everybody to play different roles. You could even have it be a role on the phone and have it in that regard. It just doesn't have to be, a actual live event happening at the event with the client, if that makes sense. Okay. When reviewing our order intake process, what questions do you think are most commonly missed but critical to the successful to a successful catering order? Number one, this happens all the time. If the person at the event is different than the person who planned the party or the special event or the dinner, corporate event, whatever event you have going on, I think that it's extremely important that that person has mentioned the person that will be on site and their contact information. And if they don't pick up, who's plan B? Okay. The same goes for the caterer. So Erin's planning the event. Your sales team's planning the event. They have dealt with all of the details of the event. They have planned the menus. They have done the tastings. They have done everything. Erin knows that client inside and out, back of her hand, knows everything about them, kids' names included. But does Maria, who's the event manager, who's going to be at the event on site, does Maria know all of the details that were already promised and set up with Erin and the client? And that is extremely important. So making sure the contact day of has on both sides a backup person and the correct phone number of that person and how to get in touch with them. And thirdly, that the customer understands that should those two people, God forbid, not answer, that they could call you and communicate directly with you on the day of the event. I think that those are extremely important details that are first and foremost. Another really important detail that I think can be commonly missed is really and appropriately communication of what the expectation is of the guest at their own event, and what we have promised as the caterers and what we are actually going to do. I think that that is extremely important. And I also know that customers don't necessarily always want us walking up to them at an event being like, how is everything going? Sometimes they just want to enjoy themselves, or they're stressed in their own way. So I think that making sure the communication from the top down for your team to the event staff, they all know this is where these huddles come in before your event, and that everybody knows their responsibility. Again, it comes from the top down, being organized as the event planner and communicating it down to the people who are serving the food. That's my opinion. Okay. What's your process for reviewing past fall orders and re-engaging those customers early in the season? So I had talked about as you right now. So here's perfect thing. If you're a catering manager or a sales manager and you're not on vacation right now, I would actually be sitting at my computer just taking a look at September, October, November, and December. And I would see, hopefully your catering systems are organized enough and sophisticated enough where you know the last time that that customer ordered, and you knew how big that order was, and you know if they've placed that event for the future or not. And I think that it's extremely valuable for you to have that information. So right now, I would be going through everything and understanding who hasn't called, okay? Come September, I would call those clients directly. Hey, Bill, Erin Childs here. I hope you're doing awesome. I was looking at, September, and I know that we had done that event last year. I also knew you had one in November. I just wanted to check in. Are you doing that same event? And do it like that. That relationship, I haven't talked to you in a year, however you want to sell yourself, but it's extremely important if you're the person calling, and if you're not, and you're a new salesperson calling a past client, and I am no longer at the company, right? So Erin's gone, Terry's here, and we are able to say, hey, Bill, I know last year you worked with Erin. I've taken over for her, and I know that she had done this event, and I wanted to see if you had something coming up that I could work with you on, or if you'd like to have me plan another event for you. I am now the person in charge. And it's a good way for you to get your name out there. It's a perfect excuse if you've replaced somebody to reach out to past customers, to re-engage them. And it will allow for them to think, oh, wow, she's on her game. Yeah, actually, I'm going to have 4 events this fall, and I would be more than happy to talk to you about them. And then you can say, okay, great. Let's talk about some of those details. And that's where you can throw some of those menus out to them, or talk about the new fall menu items that you have coming out. It's also a nice, easy way for you to sell your new menu items as a call to a client that you haven't talked to in a while. Hey, Jack, you've got a nice, we've got this wonderful fall menu that just came out. I know last fall you did an event. How can we work together? And that's another way to re-engage a customer early in the season and get their business. Okay. All right. If there are no more questions, I see in the chat that Chris O'Connor is here. So hi, Chris. I'm sorry I didn't say hi to you right when I started, but welcome to the webinar and thanks for tuning in. I think as I get ready to close out this episode, I think one of the big takeaways that I would love for all of you to have is I want you to make sure that you are organized and that you're actually questioning your organization as far as your efficiency, and making sure that you have the right tools, making sure you've got notepads and papers and pens and all of those little stupid things, that they're ready to go, and that your team is fired up as you start this fall season and head into the holidays with a little bit of a deep breath. And you hopefully had all wonderful, relaxing summers, but that you're going to enter this with confidence, knowing that you should have checklists, knowing that you should be prepared with your catering menus ahead of time, knowing that your team tasting and understanding what they're selling is a huge, key, valuable piece in all of this. I really do think that your team will sell whatever they know best. So I think it's a perfect opportunity for you to help educate them in understanding flavors and ways to articulate tastes and things like that. So with all of that said, I wish everybody an extremely successful fall season. And I hope that there were a couple of things today that you were able to walk away with. And thanks again, always, for tuning in. And I will see you in September to call you out and check on you to make sure that you are having a wonderful, wonderful start to your fall. Thanks, everybody. Take care.